That's right. Cobra Kai is back, and you better believe we are breaking it down. Get ready. It's the season 5 SpoilerCast. Strike hard, strike fast. No mercy. All right, Dragon. I'm going to throw it to you first. What did you think of Cobra Kai season 5?
So, on principle, I love Cobra Kai. I've loved the storytelling on it from the beginning. Again, it kind of has had like a progression of, for a while, it was had a progression of, it was getting really good per season. Each season was kind of up in the ante. Three was quite the benchmark. Possibly, I don't know, 2 and 3 are kind of the potentially the peaks of the show in terms of like quality, in terms of being really good, to possibly being like, the biggie. But then again, you had all the John Crease stuff in 3, so 3 might have been the actual peak. Regardless,
No, I know.
4,
Here's how it breaks down. I feel like 2, basically, I've been thinking a lot about this. I feel like 2 has the better, like in timeline action, because it's got the big school brawl
yeah.
at the end. But 3 definitely has that crease framing device, which is just chef's kiss. So yeah, it's hard between the two.
Well, I think 3 ultimately. That's the thing. The Robbie stuff's a little iffy in 3, but aside from that, everything is pretty solid.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, so of course season 4 was flawed in that basically 4 is when the realization really kicks in that, oh boy, we might be running out of story. And the main problem being we had this repetitive thing of like, okay, so our 2 dojos, as we set up, have to work together. There's your premise. Okay. Problem. We got to spin our wheels and we can't have them get along or else the show's over. So we got to kind of get them together and split them up a couple times, and that gets a little old, a little fast, and that was kind of the down. That was the bad part of season 4, and makes you really hope they can win you back and end at 5. But given Netflix's current sky is falling, we're kind of hemorrhaging right now. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So looking at this season, though, disconnected from that, I think this was an improvement over 4. I don't think we're spinning our wheels as much as 4. There's one element in which I think we are spinning our wheels, but it's not nearly as bad as it was last season. Um, again, I do want to restate. I think the show is in danger of overstaying its welcome, and I really want this. I mean, I kind of said this last season, but after seeing how this season went, if they are smart, season 6 will be the ending, because we do have, at least I can see the direction of this season giving us like one hanging chad of story left. Obviously, with kind of the big plot line that we set up, but also like a character beat with Johnny
Uh-huh.
Lawrence and his arc. So it's like we got to
Totally,
see
totally.
certain one thing happen with him in particular, and beyond that, we have another tournament that's set, like the big tournament that we have never seen before in the Karate Kid universe. So that feels like there at least is one more season's worth of story. Then after that point, if we don't wrap everything up there, then we're going to be
Then
really
you're
like,
dragging your feet at that point. Yeah, I
that'll be
agree.
like kind of our CW equivalent. That's going to be after the 2 season mark, but in
It'll be
this
like,
case, we
okay,
look
time to check out.
yeah. So anyway, so this season I think had a better balance and less repetition, but at times we had some frustrating teen drama with the Miguel Sam relationship. But aside from that, I rather liked it. I thought it was good, and I think we kind of refound kind of the great parts of Cobra Kai in this season. I think it was kind of a step back in the right direction.
Okay, Dragon. This might be my favorite season.
It's pretty good, right?
Honestly, to me, the what makes it so good is I feel like it's got a little bit of everything that made the previous seasons work really well.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of backstory. It's got a little bit of the of like the really great. I feel like episode 10 is like by far the best action that we've got. Like we finally got something that eclipsed the school fight. I feel like in episode 10. Uh, Terry Silver just absolutely at the top of his game as a classic kind of Bond villain. I feel like the show is kind of built to that in a great way. Shozen is just a freaking remarkable character, especially in the last couple episodes. Like that dude, just like you love him right away as the season starts, and you just like him more and more every episode. I don't know, Dragon. I just feel like this season is really where, and also I like the fact that certain characters like Hawk and Dimitri, who we know a lot about, they more or less kind of sat on the bench this season in terms of story, and I kind of respect that as far as like, just as far as we don't need to have like these big overarching arcs for every single character in this large ensemble every season. I feel like the big standouts here this season, of course, mostly are adults, honestly. I feel like the adult characters really shine this time around. But then on the kid side of things, I would say Tori and Kenny were probably the big standouts for me, at least. Tori, especially Dragon, like she is really kind of like done a complete 180 as far as like being the most hated character to maybe the most multifaceted and interesting character.
Yeah, you were on the fence with Tori for a bit, weren't you?
A lot of people were, but yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah,
but so yeah, I am personally kind of glowing about this. I feel like every component falls into place really well. Honestly, my only nitpick with this season is that I do feel like, unlike seasons 2 and 3, which are kind of still the gold standard as far as structure goes.
I mean, narratively, they're very well structured, those first 3 seasons. I mean,
yes, and with this, I feel like every beat of this is very satisfying, but there are some moments where it's like, okay, like, and we're doing this, then we're doing this, and
it doesn't feel
I absolutely think this is an improvement over season 4. Absolutely, 100%. So
I think what it is, Tiki, is that the first 3 seasons, what they have going for them is that there is sort of a kind of a more somewhat standalone quality to the episodes. It's a chapter in the story where these feel like, okay, we're kind of cutting it off at a certain point of story. So we're kind of dividing the story up into 10 episodes versus like, okay, here's like the first stage and the next stage, and we're kind of like, I don't know, it feels there's like a more progressive element.
I'll give you a perfect example, Dragon. Early on in this season, we get a flashback of young Chosen.
Yeah.
And I was super intrigued. I was really excited. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be like the John Crease equivalent season for Chosen, and we're going to get like a really dramatic flashback. But no, it was a cool flashback for what it was. Don't get me wrong, but I was kind of disappointed that we never returned to that.
Well, here's the thing, Tiki. We don't return to it, but I think for a very good reason. And it's actually one of my favorite things about the season. This season, thematically, to me, and that this episode put into play, it's all about deception, the theme of deception.
Sure,
and I feel that episode teed that up perfectly.
I feel you on that.
So while we don't go back to it again, I think it emanates and radiates through the whole season, and Chosen's a very kind of pivotal part of kind of like how we're dealing with the Terry Silver crisis. So
All right. So with that in mind, Dragon, anything else to go over? Or should we just get right into the episodes?
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Episode 1.
Okay, episode 1, Long, Long Way from Home.
So this I like that we start the season off. We don't drag it out for like half the season. We're going to Mexico to find Miguel, who left the end of last season to search for his father. And we kind of economized that to 2 episodes, which was a smart move.
Very smart move, I think. Yeah, agreed.
And again, Cobra Kai, especially for those 3 seasons, at its core, Cobra Kai is a father-son story. It's a tremendous father-son story, and it's very appropriate that we kind of have like a lot of parallels going on here. Miguel's going to find his father, while we give Johnny an opportunity now that he's kind of in a lot of a better place with Robbie. He's kind of having a little father-son road trip, a little goofy movie going down to Mexico, if you will. Yeah.
Oh God.
Dragon,
I have a theory. All right. It's not that the even numbered seasons with Johnny are bad for his character. It's just that I feel like he is just kind of like on autopilot. And I feel like we kind of got a Star Trek thing going on where the odd numbered seasons for Johnny are the ones that really propel his character forward. And this is one of them, man. I mean, this season is like we got a whole, I don't know, like there's a lot of character development this particular season with him.
What's funny? That is true, but if you really think about it, Tiki, this season really isn't super dependent on Johnny. He shows up at times, and we do great character progression with him. But I mean, he's not really the focus this season.
No, you're right. I absolutely agree with you, and it just goes to show how talented the writing staff is.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't even have to be the center point, and he still has one of the most compelling arcs.
Like, this season is all about the thread. It's all about essentially. I mean, Terry Silver was introduced, and he was a very big player
Dragon,
last season.
it's the Infinity War of Cobra Kai, essentially.
There you go. Yes, it's the Infinity War of Cobra Kai. Yeah, yeah. We're all going for the gauntlet in the form of a tablet at the end, but yes. It's, anyway, so let's see. So so we're searching for Hector, and again, he's seemingly in this episode, seemingly kind father who, for unknown reasons, left his family and has started another one. Miguel saves the kid from kind of getting hit by a car. It's like, oh yeah, come join us for dinner, young man. We don't know who you are.
Okay, I'm curious. Did your BS radar just go off like right away with this guy?
Well, when you say BS, do you mean in terms of like, this guy's no good, or do you mean in terms of like, is the writing a little too convenient? Like, what do you think?
No, I was just in terms of like, this is like way too good to be true. Not as far as the writing is too convenient, more as far as like, oh, this is not going to end particularly
On the
well.
rewatch, yes. On the first watch, because they pulled the bait and switch where there was another Hector. He goes, it's crime boss, and it's like, no, that's not the guy. So it was kind of a misdirect, so a red herring, so you wouldn't, think that of this guy. He says, oh man, this guy's really nice. And I was thinking perhaps they're going to go in the direction of, yeah, he left the family. And there's going to be a lot of hurt there for why'd you pick them over me?
Right, right, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a bit of that, but so I did not. The alarm was not going off, but on the rewatch, I absolutely see. Oh yeah, this guy literally hit, when he's introduced. Initially, I thought it was like, okay, this guy's he's like, it's kind of a lower tier status. Where he's taking out the trash, but on the rewatch, like, oh yeah, absolutely, it was the whole thing. Like, no, Hector, you don't have to do that. No, I want to do it. It's like, this guy's too nice too good to be
absolutely, true. Absolutely, yeah.
He owns the place and he's taking out his own trash. What? So Chosen and Daniel, they're planning to infiltrate Cobra Kai. We also establish, why Terry Silver is so formidable and so strong. And this is a really cool deep cut of Karate Kid. This season's all about Karate Kid 3, by the way, with Terry Silver.
Oh, totally, yeah.
So I just love like each season. Like season 3 is all about Karate Kid 2, and it's it's kind of funny we're theming the seasons of different sequels.
Mm-hmm.
So Kim Sung-young was name dropped in Karate Kid 3, and now we kind of we put that back into play. I thought it was just like he was just making up some kind of like mumbo jumbo because he lied about a whole bunch of stuff. Like, no, it's a real guy, and he taught him like Tong Sudo, which essentially is, again, here's our theme of the season: the deception style of karate, which is why he's so threatening. It's why Terry Silver is so crazy and spontaneous all the time.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love the status quo that we get at the start of the season with Cobra Kai, as far as like they have franchised out, they are all over the valley, they have taken over. Like I said, Dragon, as far as like the Thanos thing, like he has won at this point, essentially.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I really like that we get reintroduced to Cobra Kai via the commercial. That's very appropriate.
Yep, which again was always kind of what Terry Silver was trying to do in that third movie. Yep. All right, I guess that brings us. I mean, doesn't that bring us to 2?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Right.
We'll sprinkle this episode is Chosen going undercover.
Yes, which brings us to the second episode.
Just called Mole.
Mole.
Technically, it's like the Spanish version of mole, but I don't know how to write that out because I'm dumb.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, so this is an awesome episode for Chosen. This is where we're going to talk. So I think it's brilliant. The brilliant thing about, just to reflect in the series for a moment here, and Chosen being brought into the series, and I think it really comes into the fray here, but even in season 3 when he was reintroduced. The brilliant thing about Chosen is that he was such a great way to enlighten the very stubborn Daniel LaRusso to Johnny Lawrence can be redeemed. You two can come to an arrangement. Because literally, a guy who is worse than Johnny, a guy who tried to literally kill you when Johnny Lawrence is trying to bully you and possibly almost accidentally kill you during that that fence scene where Miyagi saved his bacon. He found redemption and a genuine friendship with Chosen, who again was the next level bully in the Karate Kid franchise. So he really opened his eyes to that, and again has really has made a lot of strides in upping the status quo and kind of the progression of the Daniel LaRusso story. So I just love that how he serves that purpose.
We have Rome Empire on the chat. Yes, we are in fact live. Rome Empire. We're talking episode 2 right now, so you're not too late.
All right, so and of course we have the flashback with Chosen, which is I love seeing Chosen. Because Chosen was a very dishonorable character in Karate Kid 2. But I like how we see what kind of got him to that point. I love the little beat here where the idea is he gets read the riot act by I believe his uncle, or I think it was his uncle. The point being, whoever the sensei was, who I think was a relative of his. I'm not sure. Could have just been a sensei. Regardless, he's being yelled at for cheating by putting like a little sandbag in the sand when you're just like a hand strengthening exercise. And essentially, a man without honor is no man. And the fact that Chosen puts it back in there just shows you that's kind of where he was then. He absolutely regretted it, and that's why he's completely turned his philosophy around after Daniel LaRusso humbled him. So I love that I love that arc for him, and how we've kind of applied that here, and that's what's made him. He's basically Chosen ultimately being a bad guy formally is what if Terry Silver had gone straight? What if Terry Silver had been humbled and not been dragged back into things by John Crease? What if he had gone on his own way but found actually dealt with the issues instead of burying them?
Right.
Yeah. Rome Empire asks, season 6 in the making. I mean, I don't think they've made the official announcement. I'm saying, given the ending of things, I'm pretty certain they're gonna.
It's not official, but I'd be shocked if it wasn't greenlit at some soon.
I think the reason is they don't have this one in the can like they've had the other ones in the can, so they still need to make it. So they didn't want to announce hey, season 6 comes out.
Yeah, I mean, season 4 and 5 came out really close next to each other. Honestly.
And that was because before the Netflix thing, they had already pretty much shot the next season. So that's kind of how that worked.
And yeah, I assume, spoiler alert, this is a spoiler cast. Crease will, in fact, be kind of the main sort of emperor type character that we have to defeat now that Terry Silver has seemingly been dealt with. That's what I assume the direction was going in.
Yes.
Or at the very least, I think Crease is going to throw a wild card in the mix in the tournament.
Crease is going to be on the board, but we'll get into this later. I mean, Crease, he won't be able to reclaim Cobra Kai.
No, he won't. You're right about that. Yeah.
So that's the real question.
Ironically enough, if he would have just waited and stayed in prison, the thing with Silver would have just released him anyways.
Yep, absolutely. So Crease is has some crazy plan in mind. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, you know it. So this is a man who was literally faked his own death before.
Twice. So let's see. So we used Chosen to. I remember we used Chosen to kind of facilitate our arcs at times here, which is great. And basically, we have him as a sensei, and with Tori, he's facilitating her arc this season, which is really good. Where he teaches her for one scene, and basically Tori's whole thing this season is she's really haunted by the fact, and you really feel for the girl. Last season, she put her all, because her life was in the toilet. She really put her all into genuinely winning the tournament, and she learns that it was done by cheating. Silver cheated, and Silver tells her this to her face after she kind of drags it out of him, the whole, yes, I did. It's for survival. It's not cheating. It's for survival.
Insurance policy.
Yeah. Exactly. So basically, she's dealing with a lot of guilt, which then kind of parallels to the opening we had with the flashbacks. The whole if you cheat, really, what is it all for? And so honor above all else.
Right.
So yeah, so he kind of helps, he ignites her arc, which obviously pays off for the last episode. So that's good. Okay. Right, do you want to go back to Mexico?
Let's see. John Crease didn't have a lot of screen time in season 5. Hopefully, more screen time in season 6. I think Crease very much a case of kind of Daredevil season 2 Kingpin, limited amount of screen time, but very impactful. But yes, Mexico Dragon. Yeah. The only two things I want to note with Mexico are we get that I associate it with the Social Network, kind of the "This is our time," where Miguel and his father are in the nightclub and they're kind of talking over the music. I don't know, that felt very Social Network to me.
Yeah, so of course with the ultimate revelations of Miguel here, and it's very hard. The actor who plays Miguel is such a good. He's so good. I can't wait. Again, assuming they don't nix this one too, I can't wait for him to play Blue Beetle because I think he's really good for that role. because he's really seriously he's perfect for Jaime Reyes. I think I
He is,
absolutely
yeah.
see this kid, and he's a good actor, and I could see him for that role, assuming the movie still survives. So he learns the truth about his father, that he's not only a criminal, he is he's a criminal. He runs his underground fighting ring. He's real shady too because he's afraid of the FBI and stuff. It's very underground. And the biggest thing is that he learns that he really doesn't care about his own family that he has. He has now. He's stepping out. He's looking for a girl, and if a kid comes as a byproduct, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's just heart wrenching to see Miguel like after that scene. But how wonderful is it when just as he's at his lowest point, lo and behold, look who shows up! It's his other father figure. It's Johnny Lawrence.
Dragon, this moment was absolutely elating to me. Like it genuinely made me tear up. It really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it got me in the feels too. Like,
Totally,
it's like I
totally.
love these two, and then the other son's there, and like that's what I love about the show right there. It's like that's the
Right.
tension
It
right
hits you in the
there.
feels, but then you're like, oh fuck, soap opera. Okay.
Yep. Why can't he have two sons? Yeah, so of course we also had some underground fighting ring stuff, which I love the correlation
Really,
there.
the
I mean,
subtitle of Johnny's whole storyline this season could have been "My Two Sons." My two sons.
all right. So, by the way, of course, it's funny we have I like the small world aspect of Miguel's father. He Hector. He has like has a fighting ring, so again, fighting and the whole karate thing is very kind of linked in that regard. It's a little small world, but it's nice.
Well, yes, Dragon. This is the Cobra Kai universe. Fighting rings and everything like that control the entire universe. Haven't we
Let me ask
established
you
this by
this.
now?
Let me ask you this, because we put that into play. Do you think? Because remember, we had a lot of tension. Like, oh God, he doesn't find out that he's his son. He almost did. He was fighting through
Uh,
that phone, but he looked away just as he hit the mother load, literally. But do you think we're gonna like do a thing where he learns, like perhaps like through this through the big tournament, the international one, that like, oh God, that's my son. I should put him in my fighting ring.
it's going to be exactly like that moment in Sing where where the bad guy gorilla is like, "That's my son." No, in all seriousness, I don't know. I don't really want to see this guy again. Honestly, I feel like we've
Yeah, I
wrapped
don't think we need to, but it just makes me wonder. Like, and there's a lot. I don't know. It just seems like
I feel
I
like
don't
we've
know.
wrapped the arc up with a bow dragon. You have that excellent moment with Miguel
Yeah,
and Johnny. You don't really need to dig it back up at this
I
point.
think
I think.
I think you're right. Now, speaking of which, getting to that point, I love that Johnny and Robbie. They were. I love the shenanigans that went on there. So the car was being towed because Johnny's an idiot. He's just like, no. He completely misunderstands this guy that he's towing the car. All he had to do was move it.
There's a lot of fun Johnny and Robbie's shenanigans in this episode. The FBI shirts.
Yeah, the FBI shirts and oh god, the I think the best part, the hot pepper contest, so we can get
Oh
money
yes,
to
yes,
the
that
car.
was a lot of fun for sure.
And again, Tiki, the theme of deception, where Robbie used the gummy candy thing to fake the hottest of the hot ghost pepper things. By the way, tell me his opponent didn't look like he could have been Anthony Kerrigan's brother.
I don't know, honestly, Dragon. I'd have to go back and look at him
Seriously,
again.
you look at that guy and tell me if he doesn't look like a chubbier version of Anthony Kerrigan. Tell me he doesn't look like he could be NoHo Hank's brother.
Oh God.
All right, let's see. So I think that.
No,
Yeah.
that's
So
about it for this episode.
well,
What?
wait. The Terry Silver inviting Chosen over to his house.
Right. Dragon, honestly, I got the sense right away. I was like, oh, he is quizzing him about the location and he's gonna trip him up in a lie. Like I kind of called it.
Oh no, absolutely, that's what he was doing. But again, I thought Chosen aced it. But then we learn at the end. Oh, the toast gave him away. He gave like an Okinawan toast versus like just a different region of Tokyo. And then oh my God, we had this. Chosen took out all these senseis so brutally as
Uh-huh.
like, hey, we're allowed to be back, and you better not get in our way.
Yeah, Chosen is such a wild card this season because he's basically just like he's kind of like the comic relief in some spots, but he's also like sort of the like the fringe kind of oh God, what's the what's the word I'm looking for? The anti-hero, the rogue.
Yeah. He's the charming rogue.
Right.
Yeah. So so that's kind of where we leave things on the episode, which brings us to episode 3.
Playing with fire.
Yep. If you're fire, then I'm gasoline. I just love that. You know, if you really think about that, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And we just kind of like have Terry Silver kind of laughing it off.
So
Mike Barnes.
yeah, Mike Barnes, indeed. He was a
I
lot of
love
fun.
what we did with Mike Barnes so much.
you
I
know
love
what?
it.
You know what I love about it is that it's like this show just does it so well as far as like every character that they've reintroduced from the Cobra Kai universe or from the Karate Kid universe very much feels like a real world. Like the writers actually really put some thought into like, okay, how would these characters actually age and where would they be in their lives?
Yeah. I mean, again, there's always kind of been that grounded thing since the first season of like just checking with these characters logically. Well, where would they be since the '80s? Well, now with Mike Barnes, I love. I think it's hilarious, but I also think it's heartwarming what we do with Mike Barnes, where we see that he's, we have the misunderstanding where it sounds like he's planning to. I called this in the moment, but it's like, oh god, like cut the legs off too. It's like, oh god. But yeah, that Italian piece of crap, and so we learned that he's he's kind of been on a redemptive path through furniture. Like he's putting his hands to good use, like building things instead of hitting things.
Which is a very Miyagi-Do thing.
Yeah, and the fact that he kind of met his father-in-law and he got married, and yeah, it was like I thought that was so sweet that he kind of put everything. He kind of found like a happiness and everything and a life in this furniture store. It was mean a lot to him.
Totally.
Also, it shows him fighting him and then taking out all the guys. And I love that couch gag. It's just like, well, ordinarily it's this much, but for you, 2,000. So it's terrible what we do to poor Mike Barnes. Though at the end of this episode, this broke my heart. Just Terry Silver, what a jerk, man! He lit the man's building on fire. His whole lifeblood, destroyed his life and his business just because he wouldn't do karate with him. Just ridiculous. And it's so ironic, given he turned John Crease down the first time when he showed up at his door and asked, "Hey, you want to come out and play?"
Exactly. Yeah.
So this episode has the one chink in the armor for the season. We have the teen relationship.
Yeah, the teen relationship, the octopus dragon, the octopus.
Now I love the octopus element of this stuff, though. I think the most Hey Arnold aspect of the episode is the octopus necklace.
Oh, absolutely, it is very Hey Arnold. Yes,
I love that. So I love the octopus necklace itself. It just really irks him. Just like, here's the thing. Here's what really bothers me.
You know what bugs? Let me tell you what bugs me about it. All right,
it might be the same thing. But go on.
Okay. Why didn't Miguel just, as a show of goodwill, like for friendship and everything, just be like, "Well, Sam, I got this for you. Like here, like I was going to get it to you as a present, and we can still be friends. Here, this is a symbol of our lasting bond."
Yeah, I mean that would have been a lot better than I'm just going to drop it on the property. I spent like $180 on it.
Yeah, that really bugged me. Honestly, I'm just like, she's right there. Like, just because she broke up with you doesn't mean she's not going to appreciate it.
Yeah. The thing that really bothers me, in addition to that, is I think Sam really was in the first episode. I believe she calls Miguel. Actually, sorry, two issues. I forgot to mention this too. Is that there is a bit of a writing thing where it's like, Carmen, if his father was so bad, literally a guy who runs an underground fighting ring and he's in Mexico and you're actually on the phone with him, here's an idea. Maybe tell him all the details.
Right.
I know you're trying to protect him, but at this point, the genie's out of the bottle. Okay. It's like, hey, listen, your father is very dangerous. He does this. Get out of there. Now, the other writing issue is Sam, she really could have been more supportive of Miguel than we're treating it like.
Absolutely. And Sam has always, to me, kind of been a problem character in that regard. Like, she is pretty damn self-centered.
And again, I think at times in the early, seasons, some of the other early seasons, we did work our way back from that, and I think in a good way. But this was a backpedal. At the very least, I don't think it hurt her for the season, but I do think it basically it gave us a bunch of relationship BS, like the whole will they, why will they, won't they things. Here's the thing I hate about the will they, won't they, is that just pair them up with somebody and stay that way, okay? Don't flip
Especially with
flop.
the BS we like. I will say the biggest BS in the whole season for me came in that penultimate episode, or not the penultimate, but the second to last episode, where it's like, oh no, some random girl just started to hook up with him out of the blue at the exact wrong time, and we bring up the octopus necklace that's literally been missing for like 6 episodes.
Well, take it that is penultimate.
Oh, it is? Okay, well, still, it's bad. Anyways.
Yeah, so I mean, that's like the only real gripe I have for the season. It's the whole, again, they're kind of looking at each other longingly. Well, come on, let's get them back together. Why is it so hard? And yes, she could have been more simple. Like, she hung up with that phone like so. It's like, yeah, right. Well, no, you could have been there in his corner. He's going through again. When he has a very valid point. There's more to life than karate.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very good lie. It's like that. She knew she couldn't refute that. There's the spoiled mother in there. I'll say that much. There's a little bit of Amanda Russo in not her finest moments in Sam in that moment. All
right. Episode 4.
There's one big thing we got to mention before we move on. Carmen's pregnant. Yay!
Oh yeah, of course. Oh my God, how could we forget? Jesus.
So, she's pregnant, and Johnny, he's again, we continue the fatherhood story and second chances. With the Johnny Lawrence story, which is a really good call. And
honestly, Dragon, this is like the 1 out of 10 shot where introducing a baby into a show late into its run is actually a good idea.
See, it's twofold. One, in that it offers redemption for one of the best scenes in the first season.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was I forget if it was the first or second season, but we had the big scene where he takes Miguel after burgers and he tells him that he missed the birth of his son. He always felt bad about that. So we're offering redemption as well as just in general the father-son story, but also, again, this is why we know there's room for a season 6 because that baby needs to be born.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta see the baby be born. We gotta see him be there for the delivery. We gotta do that. That's our ending.
Totally,
That's how you end the show. All right.
God, what if the baby comes out and it's just a repeat of the scene from this episode where Johnny's just holding up the baby and just like bitchin'. But seriously, how great was that bitchin' line though? That was like so in character.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I think that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Moving on. Episode 4. Downward Spiral.
Oh, we have the dream sequence we got to talk about at the top of this.
Yes, which is great because it's kind of like the Carmen's equivalent to one of my favorite Johnny sequences with the dream.
Yeah, I know. I was so delighted because I was wondering whose dream is it's got to be Johnny's, right? And then it was like, oh, it's Carmen's.
It's Carmen's.
So nice.
Yeah.
I was so melted. I thought that was so darn cute. She's starting to think like isn't that?
Oh my God! Exactly.
It's just like her. It's like a Vera Farmiga gag that we would make almost. Just like her fantasy is Johnny and Miguel and everyone getting along, playing volleyball, doing the Top Gun thing, and she's off to the side with the baby in the carriage, and it's like, oh, it's adorable. So I'll admit, this one episode with the water park stuff, it's a bit of a rehash, kind of reestablishing the tension. It gets a little old by season 5, I'll admit. It's the whole and we're at a place and they can't get along, and there's a bit of like the whole we're reestablishing that Miguel and Robbie they're kind of at each other's throats still. They haven't worked through their issues, which we're going to resolve in an episode or so.
You know what I thought was the lamest scene, one of the lamest scenes in the whole season, honestly?
What?
The water slide thing.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, Dragon, just as a theme park nerd, I'm sorry, but Dragon, have you been to enough water parks to know that this is fundamentally BS just from a sheer competition point of view?
Well, I mean, yeah. So they were on tubes, weren't they?
Yeah, they were on two different slides.
Yeah.
And the in like in water parks, those slides aren't identical, Dragon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you see the problem here?
Well, now I do. Yeah.
It's utter BS. I mean, I don't want
Yeah.
to spend all day on it. It's a minor detail in the grand scheme of things, but
I just
honestly, I
think
just
like
thought the whole it felt like a season 2 conflict, Dragon. It really did.
yeah. Well, honestly, I just feel in general, again just well that's the thing too, with the season two thing. It just feels like we've been there and done that where they're at a public. We did with the roller rink, like they're at a place. We did a whole party scene like I think in season three. Like they're there, don't care for each other, and well,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so let's see. So Terry Silver's playing mind games with Daniel at Amanda's big charity event, in which he
This I
basically
thought was delightful. This is a great Terry Silver move, honestly.
it is, yeah. And again, as Rome Empire says, Terry Silver
It's like
is
he
the
doesn't even
best.
really have to do anything because he knows Daniel so well. It's all about feeding into that reaction.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's see. So, yeah, I mean, he absolutely again, Terry Silver's whole thing is manipulation, getting people's heads, which he absolutely does. Which again, very ironic, given that John Crease got inside of his head, kind of in the first place, and then to get him back into the season at the top of 4. So again, it's kind of like the snake eating its tail.
Uh huh.
I know it's 2 episodes from now, but it's kind of like the snake eating its tail. Let's see. So let's see. Oh yeah, so Johnny, he's an Uber driver now, and he's very terrible at it.
Yes. Okay. This is Dragon. This is classic Johnny. Classic
Yeah,
Johnny.
yeah.
This is season 1 Johnny at its finest. This is like put it on the internet, Johnny.
Put it on the internet.
I love that. This is like one of probably the best Johnny montage, just as far as like the character that we know and love in all of his comedic stuck in the 80s glory.
But again, this is the charm of the characters. The fact that he is trying to evolve, but he's still a moron. That's just he's still like the dumb '80s bully who
1 star
loves it.
because the car smells like beer. It is beer, dumbass.
And then, of course,
The guy's like on the meeting, like, can you turn it down? Hold on, dude. This is my favorite part.
he's using the bathroom in the bottle.
Oh my god. What do you want me to do? I'm in here 8 hours a day.
Okay, then we have then of course the eating thing where he keeps like eating slices of the pizza and stuff, and So I love that we bring back the pawn shop guy. He's always bumping up against, and this guy. We put things. The pawn shop guy actually has a good scene with him. He puts things in perspective. You do stuff you hate for your family.
Yeah, no, totally. It's like, I got a kid. You'll never meet him.
I have 3 kids. You'll never meet them.
Uh-huh.
Yep, I'm still giving you 1 star for touching my food. Join the club. So we end the episode. Everyone's mad at each other at the park. Essentially, that's kind of where the downward spiral happens. So everyone's mad at each other. And Johnny's going to try his darndest to fix it in the next episode.
Next episode, Extreme Measures.
Yeah, this is our midpoint of the season. It's rather good.
It is.
So we have the return of everyone's favorite Stingray.
Yeah, this episode sees the return of Stingray and Crease, so that's a great pairing right there.
Yeah.
So Stingray just God, Dragon Stingray, very limited screen time, but oh my God, is he pivotal to this season, and I love it, and I'm gonna geek out about it when we get into the later episodes.
I think Crease is the next episode, by the way.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but first we have Sting. You're right, though. We do have Stingray. He's gifted like this swanky apartment, basically hush money and kind of stuff for like kind of rewarding the. Thanks for letting me beat the crap out of you, so I can frame John Crease. Here's a swanky apartment.
So Terry Silver.
Yep. And then of course I think the best part is it a bit of a buy, sure, but Terry Silver has money. He loves to be spiteful, so I love the fact that we brought back the awesome car that Johnny had with the Cobra Kai mobile.
Oh God, right.
Yeah. I'll admit, it's weird though. I don't think we shot it well enough this season. I think we should have shown more of it in frame, but we kept showing it like at the edge of frame.
Uh-huh.
All right. So so this is great. So Johnny, very proactive. This is probably Johnny's finest moment of the season. He kind of meets up with Daniel LaRusso as he's after last episode. His wife leaves him. She's going to spend time with her mother. Again, I think she really should have given Daniel the benefit of the doubt with the whole Terry Silver thing. You think at this point she would, given the fact that she's literally gone through the same thing with John Crease playing her like a fiddle. The whole, I have a restraining order against this woman. She's attacked me in a public place and everything. Like, she should know at this point that Daniel's got at least, probably knows what he's talking about with these Cobra guys. But regardless, so he's not doing well. He kind of meets up with Johnny, and basically this gives Johnny the light bulb of like, after the failed Young Guns 2 idea, which I think is hysterical. He just turned I love the details of this scene where he basically has like beer cans in the shapes of cactuses and like the Coors Light like boxes as like little saloon doors in like the jail.
This is the episode we get the Olive Garden stuff too, right?
Yes. So he tries to have him break bread in the literal sense via the Olive Garden.
No, that is just some damn good product placement, man.
It is, and of course, what's the Olive Garden known best for?
Breadsticks.
Yes.
I absolutely 100% without a doubt. You can question the authenticity of any of the other items on the menu. The breadsticks slap.
Well, again, seriously, it's like think back to Family Guy and its good seasons. Me lucky breadsticks. It's got to be the whole. You have to. If they got it, if there's one thing at the Olive Garden they have to get right, no matter what.
Yep. All right.
Breadsticks. So also, I love the grandmother. She comes as like a sheriff or something. It's just like, oh, did I screw it up? No.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, the grandmother sheriff. Oh, that was so adorable, Dragon. I straight up squeed when I
love that I love that she digs Johnny Lawrence, man. I love that I like this
guy. She does. It's great.
Our daughter found a good one. So let's see. So point being, this inspires a better idea than the Young Guns 2 idea, where Johnny's like, okay, the whole reason we have this whole Cobra Kai feud between Johnny and Daniel is the fact they never got to finish their fight because of that kick, the whole possibly illegal kick.
Uh-huh.
And basically, it's like, okay, you two finish your fight from season 2. Before the whole like less illegal move, more like illegal action. Where
he specifically says season 2, just like Rick and Morty.
Yeah. No, okay, guys, we're gonna redo. We're gonna redo season 2. We just know.
What if the show just suddenly became meta like that? Just out of nowhere with no explanation.
I think it would be funny. It's like, no, guys, Hilary Swank's not in this season.
God.
Anywho, so the boys they fight it out, and again we kind of have a really great moment where Miguel has the opportunity because the fight gets out of hand. They're on a higher level. Like Miguel could, kick Robbie off the side and perhaps do some serious damage, and they'd be even officially. But he's like, he shows mercy, and Robbie's asking why, and the whole, basically he kind of pieces together. He showed mercy on him, back then as well. So basically they mend fences, and they kind of see each other's points, and they kind of found a forgiveness with each other. And this is good news because Johnny lets it slip that they're having a baby.
Oh boy, yep.
Yep, and that's what I love how their reaction, like, oh man, that's great.
Right.
Okay, so Amanda, she gets humbled via a bar fight.
Yes, this is pretty fun.
I'm going to assume we brought back the same actress who was the fill-in girl for Karate Kid 3.
Essentially, yeah.
And she basically recaps Karate Kid 3 to Amanda, which is kind of fun. That's kind of
honestly, Dragon. At this point, it's like we bring her in, but not Hilary Swank.
That's what I'm saying. If there's
like,
one
not
season,
even a tease of Hilary Swank yet.
But that's the thing, Tiki. If we have ideally one season left, if we're going to bring her in, and we're out of other villains.
Oh, she's got to be part of that tournament.
Not that she'd be a villain, but if we're out of other alumni, if we're going to bring somebody in. We literally brought back Johnny's friends.
I know. Right?
We might as well. We just got one more left.
Oh, God.
I still theorize that one girl last season that Kenny was befriending. She looked a lot like Hilary Swank. I know it'd be a really small world, but like, hi, Mom.
Oh God.
That girl looked a lot like Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, she kind
okay,
of
let's.
disappeared though.
Yeah, she wasn't in this season at all, so that's probably not.
I completely forgot about her existence, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's a thing. So, of course, a lot happened this season. So, yeah, sure. All right, let's see. So, oh yeah, this episode ends on a downbeat here. We're basically on the low point of the season for Daniel Russo, where he was intimidating. He was trying to get answers from Stingray, who he knew. Basically he knew he was lying. And he wanted him to explain what the heck happened, and he accidentally broke his PlayStation 4. That was a really nice gesture on him, like bringing him a new one and everything.
I do think it's a really nice gesture. Like, I won't be able to sleep at night if I don't bring that guy a new PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Daniel LaRusso is such a genuinely good guy in this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little hard headed in the beginning, but yes, absolutely, he's a nice guy. Fundamentally, he's always been a nice guy. He's always meant well, and the idea is he has the means, so he's putting some good out there, which
Totally.
So then of course he goes there, and essentially it's a trap, as he learns probably from Stingray. That
You
LaRusso's
Admiral Akbar'd me, Bert.
Yep. So we have Terry Silver versus Daniel LaRusso, the rematch, round one.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the Dark Knight Rises. It did not go for our hero.
Yeah, no, that is actually a pretty good comparison, actually.
Yep, he doesn't get his back broken, but he's here's the thing. I think fundamentally Daniel is outmatched perpetually by Terry Silver in their current ages, because he's one. You gotta remember, Terry Silver's younger than John Crease. It's a fun fact, if I recall this correctly. It's crazy. I think we already discussed this, just in case we didn't. Terry Silver, the actor, is younger than Ralph Macchio.
I think we have discussed this. Yeah, this has been brought up.
In the story of our show, though, he's younger than John Crease, but also he's crazier. And the idea he never, he always probably practiced karate, even when he was kind of like leaving it behind. So, like, and the fact is, when he got into it again, like, he went full tilt. So he's off his rocker. Daniel's been kind of like finding a balance with everything. So he's always going to have a little more of an obsessive advantage over Daniel LaRusso.
Uh-huh.
So he wants him alive to see what's next.
Right. So that leads us to episode 6, Ouroboros.
Now this is when we bring back John Crease.
Yes. I love what we do with Crease and Tori this season. I thought that was such a good direction to go. The idea with Tori essentially being a mole, to carry on that deception theme this season. Mm-hmm. She's essentially a mole the whole season within Cobra Kai. That was a great twist, I thought.
My favorite thing with the show, with honestly, I think structurally from a story perspective, is when you look at it by season 3 onward, we even season 4, we keep giving characters like their very kind of father figure-esque kind of mentor, or at the very least we have like the sensei that really is linked to them. Obviously it's Miguel and Johnny. You have Robbie and Daniel. You have Tori and John Crease, and now we don't do it as heavily, but we do it importantly in this season. We had it more last season. We have Kenny and Terry Silver.
Yeah, I think Kenny is absolutely kind of coming into his own as a really, like, I mean, I liked him in season 4 a lot, but I feel like this season he's even more interesting, I think.
Yeah, we kind of we'll get into a little bit later here, but essentially, Terry Silver is thrusting him into a leadership position. So that's the thing. Kenny's like a supporting character who is in the forefront, which essentially was Terry Silver.
Right.
So again, my point is, I like how we link our characters to a sensei, and again with Tori, there's the whole like grandfather granddaughter thing. So we're kind of as the ruse to get into the prison. I'll admit though, there was a bit of a writing hole I did catch on the rewatch. John Crease's long con of a plan doesn't make a lot of sense if you really think about it. See, basically his plan, the part of it that made sense is his plan is to, kind of manipulate the psychiatrist, and he'll get out on like good behavior mainly because he's a war veteran. Like, it's like, okay, he's a war veteran. He's doing some therapy right now. We'll get him out of there. If he's on good behavior, right? So
right.
That makes sense.
At the very least, getting transferred to a psych ward.
Sure. So I mean that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is, okay, Tori, you're going to be a mole. You're going to infiltrate. You're not going to leave Cobra Kai. You're going to infiltrate Cobra Kai, assumedly to prove that Terry Silver framed me and get me out and possibly get me out of here. But that's the thing. Essentially, it sounds like we want to get revenge on Terry Silver. That's the plan. So I don't know what the long con's end goal is. I can only assume that it's like to deal with Terry Silver. Like, this guy, put me in jail. You like me. You're going to help me get out of jail, or at the very least, help me get revenge on Terry Silver. So I'm not sure what exactly his plan. Did you have an idea what his plan was?
I mean, honestly, not really. Just
right?
Like you said, just outside of revenge, baby. All
That's
about revenge.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know what she's necessarily. And there's thing. He's just saying you're going to be there. You're just going to be watching. Like, well, yeah, she's watching. What is she supposed to do, John?
John.
So that's the thing. So I mean, it's really cool, and I like it. I just wish on the rewatch.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. To be fair, he could be cooking up something for season 6, but we don't really know what that is yet. So I don't know, maybe. So, anyway, so I love seeing. We did a really cool thing this episode where he's trying to play it like the Kingpin in Daredevil season 2, where he's kind of being nonviolent and everything, kind of keeping it keeping it inside so he can get out in good behavior. But the psychiatrist sees through his ruse.
Oh, she sees through his bullshit so easily, and it's great.
That he kind of lets out the devil, one could say, to kind of quote Daredevil.
I love that subversion dragon.
I love how wasn't it great? How did you think? Because I know it was a practical thing, but how great was it when we saw from his own perspective? We had the younger John Crease like kicking the crap in a really exciting fight sequence with all those prisoners.
Oh yeah, and I really do love how that kind of blended into the flashbacks as well. That was very stylistic.
Yeah, and again, he's kind of thinking perpetually in the past anyway.
Exactly. Right. I really love how they depicted that.
Of course, I'm assuming the practical reason would be like, we have an actor who can do fighting stuff, but not in an extended fight sequence. He is quite up there, Martin Cove. So, I imagine that was So that, and of course, now that guy's bringing him Jello, and the Jello, the importance of the Jello.
Yes, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
Not since Better Call Saul has Jello been important. Hey,
I know, right?
The one episode title the one time in Better Call Saul they were not allowed to use an episode title because the Jello people didn't want them to do it. It baffled me. All right, so Terry Silver. Let's see. So he expands. So Terry Silver's expanding. This is where he's starting to get other dojos and everything. So he's like he bought. Essentially, he bought one of the other competitors, Sensei Rosenthal's place, which reintroduces Devin, the one of the Eagle Fang students who's looking for a new dojo.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done a little bit more with Devin and Tori as far as like kind of being the equivalent to. I feel like what they were trying to do with them is essentially be the Robbie and Kenny of this season, where Tori's kind of trying to get her out of the Cobra Kai mindset.
Absolutely,
I just don't feel like enough screen time was put onto that to really properly like give it the depth that it needed.
I'm excited to see what we do next with Devin, but you're right, though. This is mostly set up for more interesting stuff.
This is absolutely set up for Devin, and I feel like season 6, she absolutely could have a more compelling arc, for sure.
And again, with what's really great, too, is like we... the female sensei who comes in, the female sensei, I like that now she was most likely going to be linked with Devin per the whole sensei.
Yeah, like you were saying about how, all the different senseis, for sure. Yeah.
So that's very interesting to me. Okay, let's see. So, it was really cool when we had John Crease doing his therapy. We had the, I think it's a lookalike. I think they just cast the lookalike, but it could be a de-aged effect. I'm not sure. We had the young Johnny Lawrence. How amazing was that?
No, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might have been a lookalike. I don't know. Maybe it was de-aging. Either way, it was an awesome moment for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, so far, Tiki, every time they've done like flashbacks and everything, their casting has been
very, very on point. Yeah,
either the casting or like the little cheats have been flawless in terms of excelling. And that's the younger version of that character.
Totally.
Yeah. So ultimately, by the way, I like to read, and of course, I think the read now. This is something to speculate on. For again, I'm fingers crossed the last season, at the very least, the next season. I think we're teeing up John Crease's endgame for things here, because we've always been talking about the redemption of John Crease, which is always a fascinating idea ever since we put him back on the board. So the fact that Johnny Lawrence shows up, and I think it really does kind of, even though he's going to use this to his advantage later on to escape, but I love that he's asking like regrets. What regrets? And the only regret it seems that he has is how he hurt Johnny Lawrence, and he really betrayed his top student when he really could have been there for him. So again, the whole son-like figure thing. I mean, I think he might have been using some truth stuff there when he's basically using it to pull in the heartstrings of the psychiatrist in the last episode. So I think him getting out might be less sinister, might be more, I'm going to do a screw you to Daniel LaRusso, but I'm going to make peace with Johnny Lawrence.
I hear you.
That's where I think we got to set things right with those two at the end of the day with the John Crease story. I think that's basically, I think John. Well, we kind of set up in this. And I'm sorry, it's real quick, then we'll move on. But it's a John Crease. I think in the therapy scene with all the other, when he's like seeing himself, when he saw himself, it sounded like he was teeing up. He wants to get back to being the Daniel LaRusso he started out as, like the nice kid before he was sent off to war and everything. Like, I think that's kind of where, if we can get him back to that place, much like, Johnny getting back to a place similar to that, I think that's where we're heading with him.
Possibly,
yeah. All right, I think that's that's it. Is that Terry Silver has the top senseis and he's looking for leaders and talent in Cobra Kai, which is going to spell trouble for people.
All right. Okay, episode 7, Bad Eggs. I like all the episodes this season, but I think this might be my least favorite one, possibly.
Really?
I really as much as I loved Chosen, I thought the whole exercise with the eggs was a little bit like, I don't know, Dragon. At this point, I don't really feel like at this point, I feel like the series has evolved past the whole like episode long elaborate training thing.
I mean, Tiki, yes and no, in that it's interesting that this season we do not have, we've kind of broken away, with the exception of this episode, from the whole, like, we're teaching new karate tricks. We do it here and we do it for one move in the next episode. So
and that one move, honestly, I think is a lot more interesting than what we're doing here, to tell you the truth.
I agree with you there, but I like that it's like one on each side. And on this side, I don't know. I think if we're gonna if we're minimizing it to at least one episode dedicated to learning a new trick, and it did play into the theme of deception, the whole the whole thing with the egg. I don't know.
It played into the theme. I just it was maybe the one thing in the season that felt a little fillery to me. Does that make sense?
I don't think you're wrong about that. It is fillery. Yes, but I don't think
of course we get a little bit more Miguel and Sam BS drama, like, oh, the eggs, ooh, you can get it. I don't know, I think that's pretty cliche. Like every time we bring the the little egg storyline in, like we gotta have the love triangle. I don't know.
It's funny.
Again, very Hey Arnold Dragon.
It's funny using the Kingpin comparison from earlier with the Daredevil season 2 of it all. John Crease does roughly have the same amount of screen time as D'Onofrio in that second season. With it's a hair more, because this episode we visit him much like Matt Murdock visits the Kingpin in prison.
Right.
So we learn about. So the idea is we have a really funny. I believe we have the really funny gag in this episode where they're plotting, like, okay, here's our game plan to take down Terry Silver, and then a guy just kind of wanders in. They're in the dealership.
That's awesome. That was a great gag. That it really goes to show how far we've come since season 1.
Like they're all conspiratorially in the dealership, and then he's like,
guys, can I buy a car?
I just love Johnny Lawrence like saying, I don't work here, but they do. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll take it. Thanks, honey.
Oh my god, that's great.
So yeah, let's see. Okay, anyway, so
can I just say Louis is a silent king this season?
Louis always been a lot of fun, but yeah,
but the one episode that he really features in, he is just amazing.
Plus, I love it when we pair him with Anoush. I really like Anoush, man.
Oh, him and Anoush, I agree. Anoush is freaking. Don't get me started on Anoush.
So let's see. So Johnny and Daniel, they visit Crease in prison. They use a deceptive trick, with the whole no mercy mother effer
Oh,
to get him to reveal Terry Silver's plan, which essentially is, and this is the big thing for season 6, presumably, Senkai Takai. Basically, it's the hopefully the end game of the whole series. It's basically a global, almost like the World Martial Arts Tournament from Dragon Ball.
it's essentially the world. That's exactly what crossed my head. Dragon, the World Martial Arts Tournament. Exactly.
I'm excited for that because
Yeah,
one, I love a
yeah.
good tournament, but more so, I love the World Martial Arts Tournament. They're always my favorite seasons in Dragon Ball, my favorite arcs in Dragon Ball. So yeah, so let's see. So we also reestablished again the whole Crease arc that Johnny's in a fight to erase what John Crease did to him and move on, which again I think is
Yeah.
going to feed into wherever our endpoint is on John Crease. So we have the 1980 flashback, and this is fascinating when you think about this. So roughly 4 years later, if I recall, 4 years later, the actor would look like Martin Cove, and I think the likeness is good enough. You could buy in 4 years the young John Crease actor would look like the actual young Martin Cove from Karate
Oh, you
Kid.
totally could. Yeah.
So anyway, also a little note. I like to think, my own headcanon here, that John Crease, he has a soft spot for women because of his mother, and we kind of see that with Tori and the sick mother and all that sort of
And
stuff.
also
So
his dead girlfriend as well, I would think.
Exactly. So I think he's got.
Yeah.
I think he has a soft spot for women, and with that, we have like the bit where I thought it was really nice. The really ruthless, sensei, the female sensei we introduce. We see her as a little girl, like kind of being charmed by John Crease, who like takes the rap for like the broken pot.
Right. Yeah.
Really cute. All right. So, point being, the big threat is Cobra Kai going global, which would be the end of the world. If Cobra Kai goes global, it's like, oh no.
I mean, that is genuinely high stakes, Dragon. It really is.
It is for sure. It's essentially it would be it's like we're spreading we're spreading like ruthless karate with Psycho, basically a karate cult across the globe.
Right.
Okay, that brings us to episode 8.
Okay, episode 8. Hold on. Takai.
Yes. So this is good. This is kind of a way we kind of snuck in a tournament into the season, but a lot in a grounded way.
I can take this, Dragon. You know what I really liked about this episode was the fact that this was like really the final kind of coming together of the Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do sides. And Dragon, I gotta tell you, it was damn satisfying seeing the two fighting styles in tandem, like after season 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was a lot of like back and forth. Like, are they finally going to get along? And now they have.
And they are, and it's great.
Yeah, so this essentially is the exhibition to basically gain entry into the Sekai Takai. We have the international board. They learn that Cobra Kai is not the only award holders in the valley. They're not the only dojo in town, which then leads to an awesome kind of montage demonstration between the high tech Cobra Kai and the kind of by the bootstraps Miyagi-Do Eagle Fang, which leads to the watermelon gag, which is priceless.
Totally.
I love our German judge, by the way. I love the fact that
Johnny. Oh my fucking lord! Talk about a one episode wonder, Dragon.
This guy stole the show. He really did. I love this German guy. So this German
Drago!
Drago!
Oh my god! Could you imagine if this guy was part of the work crew on Better Call Saul?
Oh god!
I literally just got to that storyline in season 4.
Well, we got Kappa 6, so we're all covered. But yeah, you're right. This guy would be fun. So here's the thing. So I love leading up to the charm of Johnny Lawrence, right after he gets the watermelon splattered on him. He says, "Look, man. I know it's unconventional, but it's you gotta think outside the box. You want to go next level. It's like you run up a mountain with your feet in the snow." He says, "Drago!" I love Rocky IV. He's my idol. I love him.
Totally.
So then we have basically an exhibition qualifier where they basically reenact the last 2 matches of last season, where it's like we kind of have like the champs fighting each other. Now Terry Silver's armed has armed Kenny with this very dangerous kind of like
arm, pun intended.
Yep, this very dangerous kind of lung attack. or basically, and
honestly, I really love this. I really think it's very much in tune with the Karate Kid mythos of like these secret, stealth attacks and everything. I feel like it's realistic. It's in universe. And I feel like this is like the defining moment for Kenny to truly go to the dark side, I thought.
And if memory serves, because we kind of pay homage to it at the very end during the Terry Silver fight. It is the thing that he taught Daniel, the whole like, take your breath away from your opponent. So that's essential. This is like kind of a more dramatic kind of framing of like that singular move, but given to Kenny. So it's like giving a kid a loaded gun of karate.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's a perfect way to put it.
So yeah, so it's really, and just seeing like poor Hawk, man, like, oh god, I was feeling for him. I was wondering, I love Tiki. It's just so brilliant that you see like a dummy, like a little padded dummy, and you do the move, and you see the rips in the dummy. Like that terrified me. Like, oh my god, like, what's gonna poor recipient of that? Dear God, thank God, Hawk's alive. I was expecting to see like blood on his chest or something. Like, oh god.
Yeah, no, it was brutal.
Yes. So, let's see. So Sam, this is interesting too. So Silver, he still is cheating, and he's bought off the ref, even though they said that we're brought on our own refs.
Oh, this ref is a piece of work, dude.
I mean, think about this, Tiki.
I love how Tori she just bails at that point. I feel like that's a very, very smart way for her to essentially like cut ties.
Yeah, and I love that she was. Well, sorry, I love it. Just shows you the reach of Terry Silver with the fact of like they said we brought in our own ref to make sure everything's fair, and of course, Terry Silver's even able to get to that guy. But yeah, she took herself out of the equation there, for honor. So it was a really good move. And again, thankfully, Sam was still able to win despite all the cheating.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, listen. Did it bother you that we still haven't figured out a name, or do you hope that if in this hopefully last season, we're going to finally give him like the joint name?
For what?
Yeah, the whole Miyagi Fang, Miyagi-Do.
Like, I wasn't even really thinking about it, honestly.
I was saying, like, still the fact you need that. I appreciate the sentiment, but you need one name. You can think about it though. It's like, oh man, that's just teasing that we don't have the name yet.
I mean, wouldn't Miyagi Fang just be the most natural at this point?
That's the thing. I mean, we kind of named the kids nicked shorthand as Miyagi Fang. Why can't we just call it Miyagi Fang?
I feel like Miyagi Fang is just like that. That's ultimately what it's going to be.
Either Miyagi Fang or just call it Miyagi-Do. One of those two. But no, we're gonna go with something, I'm sure. All right. So, yeah, they have a celebration party, and Tori comes by with the big earth-shattering news. She's had a call of conscience.
Yeah. After Miguel mistakenly gets busy with another girl right behind Sam's back,
which he rightfully calls her out for in the next episode. Well, you broke up with. I dropped the octopus.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, he's very reasonably asking.
I mean, it sucks for Sam. Like, yeah. I feel for her, but still, yeah.
Don't act like he's in the wrong there.
All right, so that leads to episode 9, Survivors, and Dragon 9 and 10. Just my god, these last 2 episodes just absolutely fire on all cylinders. I love them both, honestly.
Agreed. So we have the big revelation at the party where the All Valley was fixed, which leads to kind of a little bit of a fight. And Tori's like, Tori getting scared off after doing the right thing, which is the tragedy of this character. She tries to do well and change and everything, but we keep putting her down. And of course, she really suffers this episode. We do the sadistic hand-braking scene. You remember that hand-braking scene?
Oh, of course I remember the hand-braking scene. That was brutal. Yeah.
I'll tell you what really creeped me out about that scene. Just the fact of she says, "I know I'm not doing it." And the senseis, like they step to the side so she can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh god, they're gonna kick the crap out of this girl if she doesn't. They're all gonna gang up on her if she doesn't break her hand. That's sadistic.
No, totally, yeah. Let's see. So this episode introduces Drunken Chosen, and Drunken Chosen is like the most goddamn delightful thing ever, and I love it.
Yeah, we've redeemed Chosen, so we learned that we've kind of brought things back to Karate Kid 2, where he has a crush. He pines for Kamiko.
Oh God, Dragon. Let me ask you this. With the Kamiko phone call and everything, when I get home, I would very much like to see you. Were you worried that he was going to die?
Tiki, not even factoring that line in, seeing what happened to him, I was
No, I
worried he was
know,
going to
I
die.
know, I know. Honestly, I feel like I'm glad he's alive because I love him and I don't want him dead. But yeah, he probably should have been dead at that point.
I mean, physically, he's no spring chicken, man. I thought he was a goner. I thought, oh
I
god.
know, I agree. I
'Cause,
agree.
I mean, you saw all the blood in that water. I was like, oh god, we've Tarantino'd him. No.
But yeah, just all throughout the episode, everything with Chosen is just freaking delightful. Just the actor just absolutely kills it with the drunk act.
Yeah, but also it's not just him. Like they all get drunk.
Oh, they are, yeah, for sure. But you know that Chosen steals the show with the drunk acting, though.
He does. That he does. I will get the drinks.
Oh my god!
I love what we call that back, where he's all serious in season 3, like getting the drinks, and Daniel's like throwing it back and says, "No, I'll get the drinks."
Right.
All right, let's see. So basically things seem to be at a ceasefire right now, and I wonder how true that was. Where Terry Silver essentially doesn't want to jeopardize the spot because they go to his territory. He doesn't really go after them. So he's basically like not stirring up trouble so that he doesn't get kicked out of Sakai Takai.
Uh-huh.
Now, meanwhile, the LaRussos, including Louis, they're taking Johnny and Carmen out after to celebrate the baby news. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So just everything with Louis and the Anoush thing and the sister, and then them making up everything about that is just gold.
The fact that Louis still feels bad about setting Johnny's car on fire.
Totally.
That whole thing, and then so like you're dating my sister.
Greg, what I love about that is it's almost like Anoush and Louis have like their own little romantic buddy comedy going on the side.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And what really cracks me up is the fact that poor Anoush just keeps getting hit in these seasons, where like, he still hasn't forgiven Johnny for punching him one season. So now Louis is hitting him for no reason. Yep.
Come on, man. It's like I'm sorry for hitting you, but it's my sister.
I know. I like your sister. You better treat her right. I will. All right. So our hero.
Dragon, tell me, when that was going down with, where we're kind of like flashing between the big Eye of the Tiger thing with the limousine and then Anoush and Louis making up.
Mm-hmm.
In the back of your mind, were you like, wait a minute, why isn't Louis with them in the limo?
It did dawn. It was dawning on me that something. I knew that somebody. I even don't know until next episode who's driving the limo. I was thinking, oh god, is Terry
that
Silver?
Was a fantastic reveal.
Of course, me, thinking about Daredevil, I'm thinking, okay, is someone going to drive that limo into the water and try and drown him?
That's genuinely where I thought they were going.
Really? Yeah, you thought that too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So,
and what?
Yes,
I do love the fact that this season does cultivate, much like Daredevil Dragon. That's a good comparison, actually. It cultivates an air of paranoia where, like, even though there's technically a ceasefire right now, you are just convinced that Terry Silver could just show up anytime, anywhere. Like, honestly, Dragon, even on the dance floor, I was like, oh, I don't know. What if one of Silver's minions showed up and started shit?
Yeah. So let's see. The other big plot thing that we have that leads into the next episode is the students go by stingrays and they get answers via dojos and dragons.
Dojos and Dragons is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely think that Dungeons and Dragons should make a version of that.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, really good stuff here. Awesome speech by Stingray about the, kind of like referencing the event in the context of D&D.
Yep, how Terry Silver, the silver-haired one, like you'll kick the crap out of him.
I will admit that it's pretty convenient that he has a D&D figure that looks very much like Terry Silver with the ponytail and everything.
Well, I mean, like it's like think about I think it's Game of Thrones where you have Matt. I think the Doctor Who guy, Matt. He was in Morbius. Point being,
I don't know anything about Game of Thrones, Dragon. So
that's the thing. Whoever it's Matt Smith. Matt Smith. That's the guy.
Mm.
It's basically Matt Smith in Game of Thrones. To understand, like even I think they showed some pictures of him from the prequel or something. He has like he has like a ponytail and like long hair. So I think that it's not out of the realm possibility. Like they would have like long like the ponytail. Kind of long hair.
I'm just messing around, Dragon. It's fine. It's not a real nitpick.
Yeah, I think the real question is, man, that little stocky one looks a lot like Paul Walter Hauser.
No, that's true. That's true.
So that's the one that gets my attention more. Like, man, that is really convenient.
Have you seen Pinocchio, the new one?
Well, yes, Steve, we've established this. I have.
Yeah. So the fucking clocks. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, you're not happy with the clocks.
No, I'm not.
all right. Okay, so moving on to the finale.
Yes. Head of the Snake.
Yeah, this was great. I love how we opened with My Way, and very convincingly. I was very much like, oh yeah, we killed off John.
I was
Crease
like, okay, like John Crease is kind of like, like they wrapped up his storyline. He is gone, and now we're moving on to Terry Silver as the big bad.
Yeah, which again, at the top of this episode, I was thinking, well, maybe they did wrap it up for one season.
I was convinced, honestly, that they played us like a fiddle. Yep. And Dragon, of course, I will repeat, this is a man who has faked his death multiple times.
Yeah, twice. He's faked his death twice now. This episode, we do it for the third. Let's see. So we have a broken and most likely drug-fueled Mike Barnes, who essentially hijacked the limo, and he's all our heroes are drunken right now. So this is the recipe for disaster. He basically says, like he wants to mount an attack like right here, right now at Terry Silver's house because he took everything away from him. And it's like, yeah, this guy sucks. He keeps these like essentially he did a veiled threat of Johnny and his pregnant wife. It's yeah, these no one's happy, and they leave the voice of reason behind. Daniel Russo's like, guys, he's been stranded there completely. Thankfully, Stingray saves Daniel by the roadside, so that's good.
That's a great reveal because, like, we even get the reveal where it's like, oh god, someone's pulling up at the little Russo house. Who is it?
Yep, like, oh no, they have no one to defend themselves. Egad.
And again, Dragon, that just adds to like kind of that air of paranoia with Silver being behind every corner. I love that. I love that we were able to pull that off.
Yep. So we have kind of a trio of climaxes that are happening here. So we have Johnny. Basically, they go to Terry Silver's swanky house, and they have a big old house fight. Johnny versus a whole bunch of the senseis. He's very outnumbered and drunken, which is not helpful. Thankfully, out of the bunch, though, Johnny can handle his liquor the best out of the bunch. So
yeah, that's true.
During the fight, but seriously, I knew they weren't going to do this, but you get the sense, though, Johnny, these guys are crazy. They were actually getting ready to kill Johnny, it seemed like.
Honestly, Dragon, I kind of got the sense that, like, we were building up for either Johnny or Chosen to die, more likely Chosen, but Johnny, I felt, was, like, on the table just because like both of them had like the thing we're fighting for with Kamiko on Chosen's side and obviously the baby on Johnny's side.
Yeah, it was so tragic to me seeing that photo on the ground, but I love that it then reinvigorated.
Oh, but then that's like the Popeye spinach for Johnny though.
Yes. I loved it. I love just seeing, yeah, Johnny, take him down. But then, of course, Mike Barnes shows up and a little team up between. By the way, teaming those two up, and I love when Mike Barnes shows up. I love this guy. This is the fact that Mike Barnes was very much the extreme bully from Karate Kid 3, so it makes sense that he would be besties with Johnny Lawrence.
Totally.
Essentially, he's like the Daniel LaRusso who, again, doesn't have an auto dealership, but has the next best thing with the furniture store that he could have got along with.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Terry Silver versus Chosen, and these two people are crazy enough to actually kill each other, and seemingly Chosen got killed, seemingly.
With blades, Dragon. I love how this is elevated to them using actual weapons.
Yep. I love that we had like the gag of Chosen. Like,
we had the gag, yeah, and it was a straight up gag, and that was a great way to kind of like introduce the concept that Chosen just fucking walks around with. Love
size.
Size. Thank you. Yeah, I was blanking on the word. Thank you.
So, Elektra's weapon of choice to keep the Daredevil thing going. So, sorry, folks. Tonight might be a big night for Daredevil. By the way, tonight may or may not be a Daredevil.
Oh, really?
She-Hulk. Yeah, so
I haven't
it's
been
either
keeping up with it.
I suspect tonight or episode 7 is when he's going to show up. So we'll find out.
Okay.
Anyway, so and the Cobra Kai, we basically have the Cobra Kais versus Miyagi-Do. One of the students betrayed them. Good old PB.
Uh-huh. Oh god, okay. This to me was low key one of my favorite reveals in the whole season, honestly.
Yeah.
I love how realistic it is. Like, honestly, it's like, because when it first happened, I was kind of just like, okay, well, that's a little out of nowhere. But then as he explains, it's like, I don't know, maybe because they don't call me penis breath. I was like, oh my god, that makes total sense. It's like the one time we've ever seen this kid this season is the penis breath thing. So
Yeah,
I don't know, Dragon. I low key really thought that reveal was very well played off.
But you know what's cool though? They actually set it up subtly in the background where he would be charmed by. I think those.
Totally.
Waving at me, and look, he's like eating the snacks. Where it's like, yeah, they got a juice bar, man. But you know what's funny though? I never considered this until it was kind of a big plot point here. But I kind of feel silly if I'm pretty sure his name is an '80s reference. I'm pretty sure Penis Breath is a reference to E.T.
Ooh, yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I never put that together until I really thought about the betrayal. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, that's what Johnny was pulling the reference from. Like, why would he call this kid that? He was thinking of E.T. It's all about the 80s.
Uh-huh.
So, anyways, the point we have the students fighting each other because the Cobra Kais will not see reason that, look, Terry Silver, we have proof. We're trying to reveal here that Terry Silver's a bad guy. They're trying to find the whole him beating the living crap out of Stingray. And then they couldn't find it because he doctored the footage he thought ahead. But then Tori's got an ace up her sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
She. This is great how we reveal on the big screen during this. We bring back the egg thing. We got to make sure, put it on the screen, Anthony. Oh, we forgot to mention Anthony this whole time.
I mean, he didn't have much. I don't know.
It's like that we kind of like Anthony's
he's likable now, I guess.
Yeah, he's likable. We've indoctrinated him, and he's making his he's learning the ways of Miyagi-Do, and he kind of became he's holding the big linchpin of the season in his hands with the whole footage. So he was all the technology we built up with this character actually paid off. So that's kind of nice. So as he puts it on the screen, we reveal Terry Silver bragging, basically laying out the whole, yeah, I bribed the refs, and I'm not sorry about it.
Right.
I love his comeuppance. I love that they all, after he gets Daniel Russo, he has his rematch with him, and it's a really great, awesome fight, which it's awesome. He is all the students taking off the swag and throwing it there and everything. Just everyone rejecting him because there's nothing worse than a teacher who doesn't have faith in you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was a perfect kind of wrap up for him, and of course now he's going to prison for a number of violations.
And of course, if the Crease thing didn't happen, then we might be speculating I don't know, prison turf war maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Of course, that's more likely what's going to be happening with Barry, but...
Oh, God, I can't wait to see that.
I know, right?
See, I really hope Barry is a thing where Barry's just kind of casually keeping it quiet in prison, then people are trying to make trouble, and he instantly takes them out.
Right.
It's sorry about that. So, anyway, yeah. So we have the awesome review because initially I was thinking, okay, they're going to break the news that John Crease is dead, but you didn't hear about Crease, did you? Then we reveal with My Way, he faked his death with Jello, with
Jello,
dried Jello or something.
Classic.
He kicks the crap out of the guards. I'll tell you, there's the weirdest line in this scene. I wonder if it bothered you at all, like it did me. So he's being wheeled in. You have the two guards saying, the crazy SOB got in the middle of trying to break up a fight. He got what he deserved. What? He got what he deserved?
No, that did bother me a little bit. Yeah, I think what it's supposed to be getting at is he got what he deserved just ultimately for what he did,
Yeah. It comes across man, that guy was stupid. He deserved to die.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, it's no, he was doing your jobs for you. But no, you're right though, Dad. So But again, I was wondering, like, man, that Jello. Here's the thing. In thinking John Crease dies, like, he did push that Jello guy awfully far.
Right.
But yeah, I like the fact that Jello guy was still subservient to him, and he survived. And he walked out of the prison dressed like a doctor, and it all worked out.
And again, I do find it deliciously ironic that if he would have just waited, he would have been just a totally free man with no legal ramifications of escaping prison.
Well, he would have still had to put the work in with the psychiatrist too. Like, I don't know. He did have a convincing breakthrough for her, so it's unclear.
Yeah, but I mean, with the Terry Silver thing, like, wouldn't that then?
Oh no, you're right. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. The Terry Silver thing absolutely would have gotten him an instant release.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're right. Had he waited. Yeah.
All right, so I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, that's about it. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say we like the season. We don't need to really rehash that or put a bow on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much buzzing on it. I
Yeah.
thought it was a good comeback after season 4. And let us be clear, Dragon, we are in the minority when it comes to we like season 4, but it's probably our least favorite out of the 5.
Yeah, like 4 is not a bad season of television by any stretch, but it is just kind of it's more by the numbers than the other seasons.
But yeah, I think this was like I said, it might be my favorite just because Terry Silver is just absolutely it is most slimy and we get chosen and everything. It's just very well put together. I really am looking forward to the next season, but with that asterisk, of course, that I agree 6, maybe 7, if at the absolute most. So, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So yeah, we had we had Rome Empire in the comments here, and Rome, you just made a lot of comments, and so I just kind of it was just kind of hard to keep track of for after a while. But thanks for tuning in. And Dragon, any teases for what's coming up this week?
Yeah, this week we have for the 30th anniversary of Batman the Animated Series, we're doing a Batman the Animated Series debate. So
Indeed.
that's
looking forward to that for sure.
And it's going to be quite star-studded. So it's going to be actually might be the biggest debate we've ever had technically, but we'll because we're actually going to achieve a long spun goal. We're going to have multiple judges that aren't just the people running the thing. So
yeah, right.
So we have that coming to you. Got some She-Hulk coming around the weekend. So we got that, and some other, I assume, some park stuff.
Yeah, I am actually going to be taking off on an Orlando trip, so expect plenty of Orlando vlogs. Indeed.
Yes, we got that.
Universal mostly, some Busch Gardens.
Then of course Rick and Morty. So it's kind of a rough layout of what we have coming at you.
Cobra Kai, 100 years, Cobra Kai.
God no.